Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, here bringing you this band endorsed podcast. We're going song by song through everything the band has recorded. If I can find it, if I know about it, well, we're going to review it on this show. And today we have a really beautiful song. I've always loved this song, Misty Eyes from High and Mighty. I thought it was a great performance on this album. I've really enjoyed it over the years. So we're just going to get right into it and let this warm us into our weekend. Happy Friday, Heapsters. Here is Misty Eyes by Uriah Heep.
I was missing my little miss, Misty Eyes. She made my life complete. I'd been waiting on true love's sweet surprise, and it tasted so sweet.
How beautiful is it to just start this song off with no accompaniment, just David Byron and a really warm reverb. Absolutely beautiful. It's such a treat to be able to hear him isolated like this. It's pretty rare. And also, he's singing in that voice that I love so much, where he's singing just gently, but passionate and with warmth. Just a beautiful section. So I wanted to take a moment and just appreciate that.
Oh, it tasted so sweet. I could hear the sound of the love bell, told me all it could tell. And the sight of the blue moon rising told me all was well. Told me all was well.
Then we've got the other singers coming in and not doing anything too crazy, nothing too high at this point. Minimal instrument to support it. It's just such a beautiful progression from David by himself. Little bit of idea of what the tempo is going to be for the song, and just some nice organs rounding that out. But the chorus coming in and joining David Byron is really beautiful on this. I absolutely love the beginning to the song. It's one of the ones that I probably, if I were to say, I would wish that I had written an intro to a song, this would probably be one of the ones I wish I had written.
I was just drifting as a wind-blown wave, like a stricken ship. I thought I'd never be saved. So far below me, there seems so much more. Yet a man has to know what he's looking for.
I really like the drums on this. Those snare rolls are a really nice compliment, something a little bit unexpected. It doesn't feel like it's a marching band, although that kind of play usually puts that in your head, but I don't really get that feel out of this. Very nicely done. I love that the vocals have stepped up. They've become a little brighter than the gentle vocals that we heard in the beginning. Just really nice to see this song kind of developing piece by piece and rounding itself out. Has a really good sound. It's really simple still, but still sounds pretty good as far as being rich and full.
Something unknown kept my life turning around, but I couldn't get near to put my feet on the ground. With all that I had, any man would be glad, but my everything was nothing, so what made me sad?
It just flows so nicely, doesn't it? I mean, you could put a straight beat there and it would be fine. But with the way that Lee's playing the snare on this one, I think it just makes the song flow a little bit more. I kind of feel like the whole train is moving forward instead of just, whatever section of the car I happen to be in. It sounds really good. I love the vocals. They're nice and strong. The bass, though, the bass and the bass drum are very tight on this one. And that's pretty good because remember, this is well before MIDI and people lining things up. So everything has to be perfect. Everything is real people playing this stuff. And they were very tight on this song. I really like it.
I was missing my little miss, Misty Eyes. She made my life complete. I was waiting on true love's sweet surprise. And it tasted so sweet. Tasted so sweet.
The way he's singing that almost makes me think it's a throwback to the song Sweet Freedom, but I don't think it is. I think it's just that he's using the same word, and that's the way that he sings it. Love the guitar on this part, the way it comes in. It really thickens things up very nicely. And it's just, a very simple part that he's playing, but it adds so much to the overall sound of the song. And, it brings a little more grit to it. It makes it a little bit more rock and roll than ballad. But it definitely adds a lot to it. And I love, again, the sound that he gets on every album so far. I've loved Mick's sound, and good song going in a good direction.
I could hear the sound of the love bell. Told me all it could tell. And the sight of the blue moon rising. Told me all was well. Told me all was well. Farewell to that same lonely road. I've seen the last of that heavy load. No more blues about hay and dues. It's time for reaping all the seeds I've sown.
Let's talk about these acoustic guitars here because they add so much to this song. This kind of strumming really just makes the song move along very well. It's like, if you were to play drums and you were to play the bass drum and the snare and some fills, but not really play the hi-hat. Maybe you just play the hi-hat on the snare and on the bass drum and not, all the notes in between. This song is going to move, but when you put that hi-hat in there and you've got that tempo and that just chick, chick, chick sound, it really, moves things forward. And I think this kind of strumming for a guitar does exactly the same thing. This is the kind of playing, quite honestly, that many times over the years has made me consider finding some kind of time to sit there and learn how to play like that. I'm not a very good guitarist. I can play a little bit. Mostly I can write things that I can play on guitar that add thickness to songs, but I am, as I've said many times, by no means an expert on guitar, even a novice on guitar. I'm like a guy who considers being a beginner, I think is where I'm at. But this kind of strumming, it really sounds good. It inspires me. We've heard it from this band quite a bit. And I just love the sound of it. And the recording itself of them is very clean, very crisp. It's not overdriven in the mic at all. It just sounds really, really nice. You can hear everything. You can hear the pick stringing hitting the strings, and just adds so much to it. It's really beautifully done. What a lovely solo that was between the two guitars and the dynamics and the delay on one guitar. That just sounded fantastic and blended very well by the engineer, I have to say. But it just kind of transports you to a bit of a different world when you hear something played like that. And even in the middle of a song, a change like that can be really nice. And I thought they did it very seamlessly here. We've had a tempo change too, or not a tempo change, but the drums have doubled up. I always say it's a tempo change and it's not. That would be at a different time. This is just changing it from single to double time on the drums, but it sounds really good. It adds a little bit more drive to the song. And yeah, really, really love the blend of everything that we've heard so far in this song. It's a simple song, but it's also complex enough to have some layers that make it really interesting. And I think it's great. I would have almost expected that there would have been some soloing over this last section as the song faded out. They're really good at getting me all excited about a solo at the end of the song that fades out before it really gets going, and you wonder what happens next. But sometimes it's nice to just have the rhythm and the melody of the song going too. Not everything needs a solo, and in this case, obviously, they didn't feel that it did. I would have been curious to hear what they would have come up with for that section, though, had there been a solo, which they often put one in their songs in that section. But overall, I think it's a beautiful song. I love the vocal. It's very passionate. I love the strength of all the instruments. I love how tight everyone is on this one. They're really playing together, it feels like. And everybody's really playing for the song. No one's trying to show off or do anything too crazy. It's a very straightforward and very tastefully done song, I would say. And you know what, guys? Short episode today, but that will wrap up our week. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I don't know what you guys have planned. I plan on editing podcasts to get them out for next week. That's part of what I'm going to be doing. And I hope that you guys all have a safe and wonderful weekend. I know we're all kind of bummed as tour dates are getting pushed back another year, some of them, sometimes just a few months, in hope that things will open up. Here in Vegas, there are two shows that have a scheduled reopening in July, two of the major Cirque du Soleil shows. So it's going to be kind of telltale to see what happens with that. If people feel that it's going to be okay to open those shows, then I think that's going to be kind of telltale. Not just opening the shows, but then what happens as we go forward and what capacity they're allowed to fill the arenas, how standing in line is going to work. Because you think about it, and it's so much more than just going to a concert. It's standing in line. You know, how far apart do people have to be in line? How long does that line go down the street to pick up your tickets? And I think about a meme that I saw that people were at an airport and they were standing in line to get their boarding passes. And everybody's, they've got the social distanced stickers down on the floor and everybody's adhering to them very nicely. And then the next shot is them all in a plane smushed together. And you wonder what was the point of the social distancing when they were in line if they're just all going to be pushed together in a half an hour. So, concerts are going to be kind of the same thing. There's going to be that line, and then, you're going to go into the arena and then everybody's going to be smushed together, whether they scatter seating or what. I really don't know how any of it's going to work, but we're still in the early stages of all that. I would say we're closer to shows than we were even a few months ago. And hopefully this will all work out here in Vegas with Cirque du Soleil opening up a couple of shows. I found out that Rich Little's actually already back at the Tropicana. Very limited seating, very spread out. Masks are required. Of course, masks are still mandatory here in Las Vegas. But it looks like they're trying to start to get things going a little bit. But, all it takes is one little thing to relapse the whole thing. So better to be patient and be on the side of caution than take a chance and have it go full blown again, and then we're back in lockdown again. I said it before, if we would have just done a serious lockdown for 45 days from the beginning, this would probably be over and we would have shows and all this, but that's not what we did. So be safe, take care of each other, have a great weekend, and let's get this all going again by just being smart and being safe. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday with another song from High and Mighty. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magicians Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show, and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!